Hey guys, how you doing? Just wanted to go and talk about the same problem right here. Let me go and just actually start it fresh right here. This was the same problem that we were doing in class, but it's a much easier way to look at it. So let's take a look and start fresh. Okay, so let's see here. What do we have? All right, a plane flying the 3,458 miles from New York City to London has a 50-mile-per-hour tailwind. So remember, that's like wind that's pushing, that's basically pushing with the plane. The flight's point of no return to the point at which the flight time required to return to New York is the same as the time required to continue to London. If the plane speed in the still air is 860 miles per hour, how far is New York from the point of no return? All right, so let's just make a little diagram right here. So we have some point of no return right here. Now, what does that mean? That means that the time it takes to get from the point of no return to London is the exact time it would take to fly back from the point of return to New York City. Now, let's go and diagram out what would be the speed at which we would go in either direction. Well, we said our still airspeed is 860, right? Now, right here, going from New York City to London, so going this direction right here, going from left to right, that's going to be 860 plus 50, which is 910. So if I'm going from the point of no return to London, I'm going to be going at 910 miles per hour. I don't know what distance that is actually going to be. We're going to have to figure that out. So I'm going to call that D. And the time, again, I also don't know, but what I do know is the time is going to be equal going from the point of no return to London as it is going from the point of no return back to New York City. Okay, so that's what we have right here. If I have some plane going in this direction right here, all right, so in this direction right here, my rate is 910. My distance, I'm just going to call D, and my time, I'm just going to call T. Let's figure about the other way, going the opposite direction. From point of no return back to New York City. All right, in that case, right here, I have, remember, going from London back to New York City, we have like a wind against. So that's going to be 860 minus 50, which is 810. So my rate is 810. My time is still just going to be T. Now my distance, well, one thing we know is that the entire distance is 3,458 miles, right? This whole amount is 3,458 miles. So that means this distance, what I'm going to say is that's just going to be 3,458 minus D, because if this distance is D right here, this distance would just be 3,458 minus D, right? Okay, and let me just make this uniform right here. Good. All right, no problem. Now we know that the time either way is going to equal. That's what the whole point of no return is. So if there's going to be equal, what we can do is we can just say, all right, we know that rate times time equals distance. So I'm just going to solve for time because I know it's going to be the same either way. And I can just set time equal to each other. Time equals distance over rate right here. Okay. So now we know that time equals distance over rate. Let's go and get both of these right here. All right, so the first time right here is going to be your distance, which is 3458 minus D over my rate, which is 810. And ultimately, by the way, it says right here, how far is New York from the point of no return? That's ultimately the one that we want to figure out. So let's circle that so we remember. All right, now on the other side, right here, from the other one, from point of no return to London, right here, the time is going to be the same, but right here we have the distance we just called d before, if you recall. I labeled that up there. And the rate is 910. So this right here, time equals distance over rate, that's going to be time equals d over 910. Okay. So we have t equals this and t equals this. So why don't we at this point, we're just going to set t equal to itself. We'll say 3458 minus d over 810 equals d over 910. All right, no problem. And we'll go ahead and solve. We'll just go and cross multiply. So we have 3458 minus d times 910 equals 810d. All right, we'll go and distribute. 910 times 3458 is going to give me 3,146,780. 910 times negative d is minus 910d equals 810d. We'll go and bring this guy on over, 910 on both sides, 910d, sorry, on both sides. So we have 3,146,780 equals, this is going to be 1,720. And don't forget the d. Now we're going to go and solve for d right here. We'll just go ahead now and divide by 1,720 on both sides. And we are going to get right here 3,146,780 divided by 1,720 equals 1,829.523. Now, I'm going to keep this how it is because, again, this is not my final answer, okay? We'll round when it is our final answer. So it actually goes a little longer, but 0.523 should be fine. So what I'm going to do, I know that ultimately, if you look at what's circled right here, we wanted to know how far it is from New York to the point of no return, okay? So that's this distance right here. So we have to say right here, 3,458 minus d. That's going to be 3,458 minus the d that we just got, which is right down here. That is 1,829.523. All right, so 3,458 minus 1,829.523. And that's 1628.477. So if we round that to the nearest integer like the problem said, we would just say that's going to be 1,628, and we're talking about miles right here. There it is, okay? And we're talking about from New York City to the point of no return. There we go. Okay, not too bad, not as bad as it seemed like in class, actually. All right, have a good day.